Welcome gamers, welcome back to Gamers Bay, it's Daniel, and today we're going to take a look at Konami's classic arcade rail shooter called Solar Assault Revised. So this game was essentially a major update to Konami's original Solar Assault game from back in 1997, with the revised version also being released later the very same year. Now, in the updated version, developers added a whole new stage to the game called Fierce Blaze, along with having made major changes to the dark and dreary Abyssal Forest stage, as well as some additions to the game's overall color palette and 3D graphics capabilities, among others. Now, the updated version also ran on an entirely different arcade board from the original Solar Assault, with the new board being co-developed by IBM and Konami collectively to better handle the game's mesmerizing 3D graphics. Now, the gameplay in the revised version feels a lot more difficult than the original version did, a heck of a lot more in fact, at least in my opinion, with the game throwing humongous hordes of enemies and firepower at you that feels virtually impossible to evade. But given the fact the game gives you unlimited continues, it's really not a very big deal. Now, the game was thought to be heavily inspired by Gradius, but in my opinion, it honestly appears to be more heavily inspired by games like Nintendo's Star Fox, Lava Pits and all, or even Galaga with its similar alien formations. Although the controls in both the original Solar Assault and its revision were nowhere near as intuitive as those seen in Star Fox, not even close in fact. For instance, there's no ability to do barrel rolls, flips, nor speed up or down your spacecraft. Although you do have the ability to choose either near or far fields for displaying the appearance of your spacecraft on the screen, and you can do that by pressing the start button, a very useful feature that I really liked. Now, unlike the original version, the revised version is a lot better well emulated in main. That was one of the issues that I had when reviewing the original Solar Assault game back a few years ago, as I was unable to actually play through the entire game, as it freezes up around the 5th stage or so, making it virtually impossible to actually complete the game in main. Fortunately, the revised version does emulate pretty good in main 254, and I was actually able to get a full playthrough of the game for this video, so that was a plus. And for those that are interested, I'm going to go ahead and include a link below to the original Solar Assault game if you want to check that one out as well. There are some stark differences, but there's a ton of similarities. The graphics are a little bit different, and like I said before, this version was a heck of a lot harder. The original version was just a lot easier, but you also didn't have the unlimited continues like you do in here. So anyways, that is Solar Assault Revised. What do you think about this game? Have you played this before? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video, please do consider giving a thumbs up and subscribing to stay up to date with our latest videos. I am going to go ahead and tune out now, but I'm going to continue to play through the game. You are totally welcome to continue to watch. And until next time, take care.